Good morning, everyone. Myself, Ms. Monica Butts, and again, I'm with you with the continuation of chapter that we were discussing. We were discussing about the second chapter of chemistry, that is matter around us pure? That is the chapter in which we have discussed about the solution, suspension, colloids. And the further topic that we will start today, that is separating the components of a mixture. As you know, that mixture, that is basically made up of more than one component and in a random ratio. That means there is not a fixed ratio. So if we want to separate that component, that what should we do and why it is required that we are getting the separate component. So separation makes it possible to study and use the individual components of a mixture. That means the components which are present in the mixture, if we want to study them individually and we want to use them individually, then we have to separate them from the mixture. So that's why separation is important. For separation, it is important to know the properties of solute and solvent components. Obviously, some substance act as solute and some another substance act as solvent. For example, in a lemon water, lemon is solute and the water is solvent. So solute and solvent, which are the components of a mixture, if we want to separate them, then we should know about the properties of solute as well as the properties of solvent. Some common physical methods that we use in our day-to-day life to separate the heterogeneous mixture are hand picking. We usually observe it that when our mother making some pearls or any kind of you can say any kind of material in the kitchen in which some pebbles are there. For example, rice, yes, it is a correct example. So when rice is to be prepared in the kitchen, then we have to find out some unwanted material from it by simply hand picking. Sewing and filtration, yes, these are the another method that we use. Filtration, you can observe it when we filter the tea and the tea leaves and the liquid, that can easily separated with the help of the filtration technique. So that is filtration. So these are the technique that we day to day use, but we will discuss some further techniques, another techniques in this. Separate colored component, dye, the colored component, that is dye, from blue or black ink. You can take the example of the blue or black ink that we use. You can say earlier it was used in some pens, etc., where blue black ink is used in liquid form. So that kind of blue black ink is to be separated. And what is solute? The dye is solute. And what is solvent? The water is solvent. So what we do, we arrange the you can say setup like this, in which there is a burner. This is a burner which provide heating. This is a tripod stand, and on the tripod stand we keep a beaker that contain water, and on the beaker a watch glass. You have seen the watch glass in laboratory. A watch glass is placed, and in the watch glass we contain ink. We put ink. Why we put ink? Why it is indirect heating of the ink? That means heat first go to the water and then to the watch glass, means then to the ink. But why can't we keep the ink directly on the flame? Because ink is very delicate substance. Dye which is present in the ink is very delicate. So if direct heating is provided to it, it will convert into coal. It will completely burn. But what we want to do, we want to separate the water component from the ink. So that's why this indirect heating is done. And basically this indirect heating that we have done, it is actually known, this is indirect heating, in which heat from the burner first go to the water, and then from water it goes to the ink. So this is known as water bath. In further classes you will also observe this kind of method in your 10th class also. This is known as glass water bath, sorry. This is water bath. So by this method, what we observe after some time, when we continue to heat, then we observe these are the vapors, and vapors are of water which is present in the ink, and these vapors are slightly coming out from the ink, and after some time again we observe that now the vapors are not coming. It means the water which is present inside the ink is completely evaporated. And when we observe that now the vapors are not coming, we should stop the burner and keep the watch glass from here, keep out watch glass from here, and in that condition we get the dye in the watch glass and water is evaporated. So this is a separation technique, and this technique is known as evaporation. You have already discussed this technique, this process in the first chapter, in your first chapter. This is the activity, this is conclusion, and these are the precautions that we have to take, that I discussed with you. Now this one is another separation of cream from milk. When we want to separate cream from milk, again I want to tell you that it is a common method that we daily observe in our kitchen. The technique which we use is known as centrifugation. Centrifugation, basically a force is applied from the center to separate the components. What is the principle behind that? The denser particles are forced to the bottom and lighter particles stay at top when spun rapidly. I want to show in this picture that this one is the mixture, and this is the center from where the force will take place. You can see in the mixer grinder at your kitchen, in your kitchen. So what happened? The denser particles which are present in this mixture, denser particles are forced downwards and the lighter particles are forced upwards. So when this particular apparatus will spin like that, means it will rotate, and when it move, then denser particle will move downward and the lighter particle will move upward. And you can see in this that cream is lighter than milk, so cream is collected. This one is the separating layer. Above that cream and there is milk. So before there is no separation of that, but after when we spun it, then there is a separation of cream from milk. Where we use this technique? In diagnostic lab for blood and urine test, to separate some component from the blood if they are present in that and in the urine. In dairies and home, yes, you can visit to the dairy, observe it. It is very interesting to observe it there. In washing machine, to squeeze out water from wet clothes. In the dryer of washing machine, the same technique will take place. So this is centrifugation technique. This is the discussion and the conclusion of the centrifugation technique. Now the next technique, that is separate a mixture of salt and camphor, sublimation technique. Salt and camphor. Salt, that you can take the common salt, and camphor, we all know that camphor has an ability to convert into vapor from the solid, and this technique is known as sublimation. We have already discussed this technique in the first one chapter, that this is the mixture, and when we provide heating, then the vapors from this mixture will comes out, and these vapors are only of those substance which can vaporize, and that is camphor. And when these vapor come in contact with the wall, inner wall of this funnel, then they again convert into solid. So from solid to first they convert into gas, and from gas they convert into solid. and when whole the vapors will comes out and collected on the inner side of it, then we stop the burner, take the funnel, and we can easily scratch the ammonium chloride from here, and the sodium chloride will remain in the china dish. So this is the separation technique. I have already discussed it with you. Okay, I think it is enough for today. Yes, this is the new technique that we will discuss in the next session. So these are the examples, these are the substance which we can separate from the sublimation technique. Okay, have a nice day. Goodbye.